After hosting my own birthday dinner and paying for everyone's meals, my wife's brother raised a glass and said, "To the family's favorite doormat, always underfoot, never in the way." My son laughed and added, "Dad's just a placeholder until we get someone better." My wife rolled her eyes and said, "He's like a broken clock, wrong most of the time, and still somehow always around." They all toasted while I sat there smiling. They had no idea I was already draining every joint account and preparing to serve them with eviction notices and a one-way ticket to rock bottom. Today, my wife, her parents, and her leech of a brother were hammering on my door, faces streaked with tears and panic, screaming my name. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. So not sure how to even drop into this. I've never posted here, but I read way too much of other people's drama. And honestly, I always thought, nah, my life isn't that wild. But now I'm sitting here at 2 a.m., can't sleep, just replaying every second of tonight. And NGL, I'm actually kind of shaking as I type this. IDK, maybe this is oversharing, but whatever. It's Reddit, right? So yeah, it was my birthday. Not a milestone one, just 34, but I wanted to actually do something this year. Usually, Cecilia, my wife, acts like it's a hassle to plan stuff, so I figured I'd just handle it myself. Invite everyone, pay for it, just make it easy on everyone. We hadn't all gotten together in forever, and I like this little place by the river. It's got these weird fusion tacos and good desserts. Not too fancy, but you can actually hear each other talk. So it's me, Cecilia, her parents Asher and Vera, her brother Clyde, who's been staying with us for like 6 months, and my son Corey, he's 16 from my first marriage, stays with us half the week. My own parents are out of town. They sent me the world's most generic e-card, but whatever. They're old and live a few hours away, so I get it. I'm not really tight with anyone else, so this was going to be it. I get there early, make sure the table's set, pay the deposit. I hate the whole awkward who's paying thing. Just easier this way. I even order a couple pitchers of margaritas ahead of time, just trying to keep things chill, you know. Cecilia texts she's running late. Classic. Clyde actually shows up first in some wrinkled shirt, already on his phone. Doesn't say much. Vera and Asher arrive next. Vera immediately starts in on the traffic. Cecilia comes in, barely looks at me, already talking to her mom about some neighbor's dog drama. Corey shows up last, earbuds in, and basically sits there scrolling the entire time. So the dinner starts out fine. Everyone's talking over each other. Asher's complaining about the music. Clyde asking if they have anything normal to eat. He always does this, acts like everywhere's beneath him. I'm just ordering for everyone, making sure nobody's left out, doing the whole host thing. It's not like I enjoy being ignored, but I'm used to it, I guess. Then Cecilia starts making these little comments. Nothing new. Just her usual jabs about how I love planning things nobody else wants to do. She always does this. Like if I try to take initiative, she has to cut me down a notch. IDK if it's resentment or what, but she's been like this for years. Her parents aren't much better. They kind of smirk and let her run her mouth. Clyde, though, he's gotten bolder since moving in. He thinks he's hilarious, always doing this dry, deadpan thing, but it's just mean half the time. So anyway, food's coming out, and everyone's halfway through their drinks. I don't even really get to eat much. I'm too busy making sure everyone has napkins and drinks and whatever. Vera drops her fork, and I'm the one who gets up to get another. It's like, I don't even know. I guess I just do it because it's easier than dealing with the size and looks if I don't. Corey laughs at something on his phone, and Cecilia asks if it's a meme about dads who try too hard. Everyone laughs. I play along like, haha, very funny. The bill comes. I handle it, obviously. Asher looks at the total and sort of whistles, but doesn't offer to split. Just shakes his head like I brought this on myself. I just sign and don't say anything. This is when it gets weird, though. Like I've had these moments before where they kind of roast me, but this time it's like they're trying to outdo each other. Clyde raises his glass and, in this mock serious voice, says something about to the family's favorite doormat, always underfoot, never in the way. I'm not even joking. He actually says this. Everyone laughs. Vera does that fake cough laugh. Asher just nods along. Corey, who's supposed to be my own kid, goes, "Yeah, Dad's just a placeholder until we get someone better." He grins at me and I just stare at him like, what? I mean, I know he's a teenager and teenagers suck sometimes, but that one stung. Then Cecilia, not to be outdone, actually rolls her eyes and goes, "He's like a broken clock, wrong most of the time and still somehow always around." They all toast, clinking glasses, and it's like I'm not even in the room. I just sit there smiling. But inside I think, snapped. I know what some people are going to say, like, why put up with that? Why not say something? But honestly, I've tried. I've pushed back. All that gets me is more of the same or worse. They just say I'm being sensitive or that I'm ruining the mood. Cecilia's always been like this. Her parents back her up no matter what. And Clyde, he just wants a free ride and someone to dunk on. Corey, I love my kid, but he's always had this thing where he wants to impress his stepmom and her family. Like he wants to be part of their little club. I think they treat me like this because it's easy. Because I never make it a big deal. Because I pay for things and do all the work and don't ask for anything. They know I'm not going to blow up in public or storm out. But tonight, IDK, I didn't feel hurt exactly. I felt done. Like really actually done. I just sat there smiling and let them finish their little roast. I started thinking about everything I've handled for them. How Cecilia always forgets to pay bills. How Clyde has never paid a dime in rent. How her parents treat our house like their own personal hotel. How even Corey only comes around when he wants something. It's like I'm just a background character in my own life. I got up to go to the bathroom and I just stood there looking at myself in the mirror and thought, what if I just stopped? What if I stopped making it easy for them to walk all over me? I went back to the table, didn't say anything, just finished my drink and waited for everyone to go. After dinner, Cecilia wanted to take a selfie outside, but I said no. I was tired. She actually pouted about it, like I was ruining her night. Vera and Asher complained about the cold. Clyde said he was going to Uber back to our place because he couldn't be bothered to walk. Corey barely said goodbye, just mumbled something and got in the car with his earbuds in. On the way home, Cecilia went off about how I made it awkward by not playing along, how I was being dramatic. I didn't even respond. She slammed the car door when we got home and stomped upstairs. Clyde was already in our living room, shoes on the couch, watching some show on the big TV. I walked past him, didn't say a word. I went up to our bedroom, locked the door, and just sat there for a while, scrolling through my phone, looking at our bank app, our mortgage info, all the stuff that's in my name. I don't know what I expected to feel, but all I could think was if they want to treat me like a doormat, maybe it's time they find out what it's like when the doormat gets pulled out from under them. I started making notes in my phone, just jotting down everything I handle, everything they owe, everything I could change. Nothing illegal, nothing wild, just not making it easy anymore. I guess this is where I leave it for now. I'm not sure what happens next, but I'm not just going to sit around and let them laugh at me in my own house on my own birthday. They have no idea what's coming. I'm done being the family joke. Next time they try to toast me, they might want to check whose house they're drinking in. Anyway, sorry for the rant. Might update if anyone's interested. Not sure where this goes, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. For update 1. Alright, I didn't plan on updating this fast, but NGL everything's sped up way more than I expected. Like I thought I'd have weeks to set up and plan. But the way my family moves, it's like they're allergic to not making me the center of every little meltdown. I'm not even mad anymore. Just tired, I guess. Mostly running on spite and black coffee at this point. Lol. So after the birthday roast, if you want to call it that, I just started watching for patterns. Cecilia, Clyde, Vera, Asher, even Corey. They all got this thing where they expect to pick up the slack, fix stuff, pay, drive, handle. It's not even malicious. It's just how it's always been. Like I'm the family's default search engine. But after that night, I saw it clearer than ever. Not gonna lie, there's something satisfying in just documenting how many fires I put out for them daily. I got a whole list in my notes app now. It's funny and depressing at the same time. Like first weird thing, Cecilia starts asking why I'm so quiet in the mornings. Usually she's all, oh, can you do this? Did you call that? What's for dinner? But now she's peeking at me over her phone, like she can sense I'm not playing along. I just sip my coffee and scroll. Don't even look up. She gets twitchy. She asks if I'm mad. I say I'm just tired. She rolls her eyes and leaves the mug for me to clean. I don't touch it. Clyde is the first to actually get hit by my changes. I log in, cut his access to the joint card. Don't say a word. He comes storming into the kitchen waving his phone saying his card declined at the gas station, and now he's stranded with half a tank and a bag of chips. I say, maybe you need a job. He laughs, but it's that forced laugh, you know? He tries to get in my face. I just step around him. He mutters something about how I'm a control freak, but then he calls Vera to whine. Vera next. She texts me with a wall of question marks because her streaming isn't working. She says she's missing her baking shows and can I fix it? I say, maybe ask Clyde. She tells me I'm being difficult. Says Asher is upset too. Asher doesn't actually say anything. He just sighs louder than usual and keeps flicking channels on the living room TV, complaining about the news and the thermostat. It's like he thinks if he makes enough noise, I'll just fix stuff to shut him up. Meanwhile, Corey's caught in the middle. He's mad that I won't just hand him cash for random stuff. Says he can't buy the new phone case he wants or get snacks after school. I tell him to ask his mom. He says she never answers, that Cecilia just tells him to deal. He stomps off and slams his door. I hear him on the phone later telling someone I'm being weird and won't help anymore. The funny thing is, none of them really talk to each other. They just orbit around me, complaining, poking, acting like I'm the one being unreasonable. It's not like I started this to be petty. Okay, maybe a little, but I just want them to sit in it for once. I do my own laundry. I cook for myself. Leave everyone else to figure it out. Cecilia asks, what's up with me making only one sandwich? I say I'm not hungry. She says she isn't either, but then she texts Vera about how I'm acting off. I start moving my own stuff out of the common area. My laptop, chargers, headphones, anything valuable, all into my room. I change the main Wi-Fi password, set the old one to guest mode. Nobody says anything directly, but Clyde tries to reset the router and blames me when it doesn't work. I tell him to call tech support. He slaps the counter, calls me useless. I dig up all the mortgage and deed paperwork, all in my name. Open a new account, put everything with my name on it. Start draining the joint savings. Nothing illegal, just moving funds for bills and emergencies. which is true, just not their emergencies. I check the house insurance, utilities, everything. I pay up a couple months ahead on my solo account. I Google eviction stuff just to be sure I don't mess it up. I print out the forms, save them in a folder on my phone and a physical copy too. I even call a notary at the grocery store. Just ask how hard it is to serve notices to people who aren't on the deed. She says it's just paperwork. I say thanks. She shrugs like it's normal. Maybe it is. Cecilia gets more and more pissed. She corners me in the hallway. Says I'm making everything harder than it needs to be. Wants to know why I'm acting like a stranger. I tell her I'm just tired. She shoves me. Not even hard, just enough to make her point. I don't move. She says I'm being childish. I tell her maybe she should try handling things for once. She storms off, slams the bathroom. Later she texts me from upstairs, says if I don't snap out of it, she's calling her parents to come help. I don't reply. I let the unread badge pile up. Vera and Asher show up the next day. Just walk in like it's their house. Ask what's for lunch. I say nothing. I'm busy. Asher says I'm being disrespectful. Ver tells me I need to apologize to Cecilia. I say maybe they should all apologize to me for once. Ver's jaw drops. Asher just shakes his head and goes out to the porch. Vera slaps the kitchen table and says, I'm ungrateful. I shrug. Clyde goes out that night, comes home late, stinks of weed and fries, drops his bag in the hallway. I tell him to clean up after himself. He says, or what? You gonna throw me out? I say, maybe. He gets in my face, tries to chest bump me, shoves my shoulder. I push him back. Not hard. Just enough. He calls me a joke. I say, just wait. Corey tries to play both sides. He asks if he can stay at his mom's for the weekend. I say, sure. He says, is something going on? Are me and Cecilia going to split up? I say, ask your stepmom. He looks confused but doesn't push. He grabs his bag and goes. I keep going. I change the locks on the garage. I start taking pictures of every room, making a file of what belongs to who. I stop answering family group texts. I only talk to people if they're in the room. I start sleeping with my phone and keys on my nightstand. Cecilia tries to snoop. I catch her. She says she's worried I'm up to something. I say, maybe you should be. The house feels tense, like everyone's waiting for someone else to crack. But I'm not cracking. I'm just prepping. I even call my dad, tell him I might need to crash at his place if things go wild. He says I'm always welcome. It feels good, honestly. So now everything's in place. I got the eviction notices printed, all the financials sorted out, bills prepaid in my name only, my stuff packed up in my room just in case. I've stopped making it comfortable for anyone but myself. For once I'm the one who holds all the cards, and they don't even realize the game's changed. They're still playing like I'm just going to give in and clean up after them like always. They have no idea how close they are to getting the boot. It's kind of wild watching it all click together piece by piece. I'm not even nervous, just ready. Next time I post, the hammer's coming down. Update 2. It's wild how you can live with people for years and never see them for what they really are until you stop making life easy for them. I swear, even the air in the house felt different the morning I woke up and decided, yeah, today's the day. I had the manila folder with every doc printed, signed, notarized, organized like I was about to pitch a startup, except it was just my family's last ride on my goodwill. I started early before anyone else woke up. I was in the kitchen making coffee, just one cup for me, reading through the eviction stuff one last time. Cecilia comes down yawning, flips the light on and squints at me, says nothing, just opens the fridge, sighs when she sees it's basically empty, except for some leftovers, and then asks if I'm making eggs. I say, not today. She gives me that look like I'm being dramatic again. Then Vera and Asher show up. They always let themselves in. Never ask first, never knock. Because why would they, right? They treat this place like their weekend cottage. Vera starts going on about how cold it is, wants to know if the heat's up. Asher just dumps his jacket on the counter, starts looking for coffee, then grabs his phone and scrolls through the news out loud. Clyde's up last, stomping down the stairs already annoyed, asking who finished the bread. I let them all settle in, acting like it's just a normal Saturday. I go back upstairs, grab the folder and come back down, put it on the kitchen table. I say, we need to talk. Cecilia rolls her eyes, says, not now. She just woke up. Vera says, if this is about the fridge, she'll order grocery. I say, no, everyone needs to sit down. Clyde's already whining, says he has plans, but I just stare at him until he sits. I pull out the papers, one for Cecilia, one for Clyde, one for Vera and Asher. I tell them exactly what it is. Eviction notice. 30 days. Everything by the book. No loopholes. The house is in my name. The accounts are in my name. The bills are in my name. I'm done. I'm not your maid, your bank, or your backup plan anymore. At first, nobody moves. Cecilia just stares at the paper like she's never seen her name in print before. Ver says, this has to be a joke. You can't just kick out family. Asher says I'm being ridiculous. I need to calm down and talk like an adult. Clyde grabs the notice, reads it fast, then literally slaps the table and says, I can't do this, that I'm breaking the law. I say, it's all legal, and if he wants to test it, go right ahead. Cecilia's face goes red. She gets up, says I'm not thinking straight, that I'll regret this. I tell her, I regret letting it get this far. She pushes past me, storms upstairs, slams the bedroom. Vera shouts after her, says I'm having a midlife crisis, that I should be ashamed. Clyde stands up, tries to get in my face, says he's not leaving, says if I put his stuff outside, he'll call the cops. I step right up to him, tell him to try. He shoves me. I shove him back harder. He calls me pathetic. I don't react, just stand my ground. Asher finally says, let's talk this out like adults. I tell him, I've tried that for years. Nobody wanted an adult conversation when they needed groceries or a driver or someone to blame when things went wrong. Now it's my turn. Ver starts crying, says, I'm tearing the family apart. I say, you did that yourselves. Nobody says anything for a minute. It's actually kind of awkward. Angel. Corey comes down the stairs. Guess he heard the yelling. Asks what's going on. Cecilia yells from upstairs. Tells him I'm losing it, that I'm kicking everyone out. He looks at me like he can't decide if it's a joke or not. I tell him if he wants to talk, we can talk privately. He says, why are you doing this? I say, I'm tired of being the punchline. He says, it's just jokes. Nobody means it. I say, that's the problem. Ver tries to guilt trip me, says, if I kick them out, they'll have nowhere to go. I say, you have friends, you have money, you can figure it out. Clyde says, what am I supposed to do, sleep in my car? I say, maybe you should have thought about that before treating me like garbage in my own house. He gets up, throws his mug across the kitchen. It shatters. I don't flinch. Asher says, this is going to ruin everything. I say, it already did. I tell them, 30 days. After that, if you're still here, I'll have the sheriff come do it. I'm not bluffing. Cecilia comes back down, tries to grab the papers out of my hand. I hold tight. She slaps my arm, says I'm a monster. I say, call me whatever you want, just not your husband anymore. She throws the papers on the floor and storms out the front door. The rest of the day is just ugly. Lots of shouting, crying, accusing, but mostly everyone just walking around in circles like they're waiting for someone to tell them what to do. Nobody does. Vera tries to call my parents, but they don't answer. I warn them not to pick up. Clyde leaves, comes back, slams the door each time. Asher packs a suitcase, then unpacks it, then packs it again. Corey just sits in his room texting, watching it all. In the middle of it, Cecilia comes up to me and says, you'll pay for this. You'll regret it. Everyone will know what you did. I say, let them know. She says, you're ruining your own life. I say, you and your family already did that for me. By the end of the day, the house is a mess. Nobody knows where to go, and I'm honestly not even angry anymore. Just done. I lock my door, blast music, and let them yell if they want. I'm not backing down. Not this time. So yeah, that's where it's at. 30 days on the clock, I'm not budging. Final update. First off, this is honestly the calmest my house has felt in years. If you can call being alone calm. It's weird. I keep expecting someone to yell from downstairs, Vera asking about the heat, or Clyde stomping around looking for his charger, Cecilia slamming the fridge, Asher sighing at the news, but no, just me and the hum of the fridge and whatever's on my phone. I never realized how loud their presence was until it was gone. So here's how it actually went down. After I handed out those eviction notices, it was 30 days of straight-up chaos. I figured they'd scramble, maybe guilt trip. But wow, I underestimated the lengths entitled people will go to keep their claws in. I mean, the group texts alone could fill a book. Vera would send paragraphs at 6 a.m. about family, about how her parents would be rolling in their graves. Cecilia tried the cold shoulder and the meltdown alternate, like she was switching up tactics to see what would stick. Clyde was just angry 24/7. Slamming doors, blasting music, making a mess on purpose, and then saying it wasn't his problem. The first week, nobody packed a thing. Cecilia kept saying, he'll come around, he's just having a midlife crisis. Give it a few days. She'd corner me in the hall, ask if I wanted to talk, but it was always her talking, trying to get me to say I was sorry or that I'd made a mistake. When I stayed quiet, she'd start yelling. One night she actually slapped my shoulder, said I was being cruel, then started crying and stormed off to call Vera. I heard her through the wall, telling her mom I was out of control. Literally not a single word about what they'd done, just that I'd lost it. Week 2, they started to panic. Vera and Asher tried to get support from friends, but turns out most people aren't looking to house 4 adults and a teenager on short notice. Clyde actually tried posting in some local Facebook group asking if anyone had a room for a hard luck family member. LOL. He got clowned in the comments and deleted it after a day. Corey started spending more time at his mom's, texting me that things were too tense and asking if I could send him money for Ubers. I said, ask your mom. He stopped texting for 2 days. The closer it got to the deadline, the less anyone slept. I'd hear Cecilia and Vera arguing in the kitchen at like midnight about who owed what and what to do next. Asher would just walk around the yard, phone to his ear, but nobody was picking up. Clyde tried to threaten me, said he could make life hell, that I'd regret this. I told him to get out of my face. He pushed me. I pushed him back. I locked my door that night, just in case. By the final week, Cecilia started playing the victim on her socials, vague booking about betrayals and broken families. I didn't respond. Vera left notes under my door begging me to reconsider, saying I was destroying Corey's future and they'd never recover. Asher stopped talking to me altogether. Then came the last day. I woke up early, made coffee, took pictures of all the rooms just in case they trashed anything on the way out. Cecilia tried one last time, stood in the doorway, arms crossed, blocking the hall. She said, "You're really going to do this?" I said, "Yes." She called me a coward, said I'd regret it, then threw her mug at the wall. I didn't even flinch. Clyde came downstairs, saw the suitcases Vera was packing, and started yelling. Vera was crying. Asher just stood there, quiet for once. They dragged their stuff out. Took forever, arguing about what belonged to who was riding with who, if they could leave things in the garage. I said, nothing stays. Clyde tried to leave a box in the hall. I picked it up and put it on the porch. He cursed at me. I closed the door in his face. Vera hugged Corey, crying, saying she didn't know where they'd go. Cecilia got in her car, slammed the door, sped off. Asher didn't even look at me. I watched from the window as they all left. Cars packed, tears and yelling and all. It felt empty, but honestly, not in a bad way. I didn't wave. I didn't cry. I just stood there, finished my coffee, and started cleaning up. The house was a mess. Trash everywhere. Old food in the fridge. Stuff shoved in closets I'd never seen before. Clyde left his gym bag in the laundry room. I put it on the curb. Corey texted me a couple days later. Said he needed to talk. I said sure, but I'm not getting dragged into anyone else's drama. He came over, looked around, said the house felt weird. He asked if he could stay. I said, as long as he respects the rules. He nodded, said, okay, but you could tell he was still figuring out which side he was on. After that, radio silence from everyone. Cecilia tried to call once. I let it go to voicemail. Vera sent a long email about forgiveness and family. I archived it. Asher never reached out. Clyde texted me a meme about winning the Petty Olympics like he thought it was funny. I didn't reply. Now it's just me, and sometimes Corey, and the sound of my own music instead of someone else's fights. I run the dishwasher whenever I want. I eat what I want. I pay for what I use. The money's still in my account. The house is in my name, and nobody's coming through my door who doesn't respect it. If that makes me the bad guy in their story, fine. I don't even feel victorious, TBH. It's more like the first quiet breath after holding it for way too long. I know they're out there scrambling, probably blaming me for everything. Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe not. I'm not their safety net, not their doormat, not their punchline. If you're waiting for some big redemption or reunion, that's not happening. They made their choices. I made mine. I finally drew a line, and I'm not moving it. No matter who's crying on the porch, that's it. I'm not updating again unless something wild happens. If you ever feel like you're just background in your own life, just know there's a way out. It's not pretty, but it's real. And yeah, I can finally say it.